Hello, welcome to One on One. I'm your host, Greg Walker. We've got a unique guest with us on this edition. I really look forward to the show. He is the owner of All in One of Clarksville. That's a home remodeling company. He's also very politically oriented. He is a man that I respect because he speaks his mind. You may not always agree with him, but one thing for sure, you know where he stands. Scott Comperry joins us on this edition of One on One. I want you to settle back, relax, and enjoy a fun, down-to-earth conversation with a nice man. Scott Comperry joins us right after these words.
Thank you. It's the big savings event at Matthews Nissan in Clarksville or MatthewsNissan.com. $7,500 off a new Altima. $7,500 unbelievable. $6,500 off a new Road. $2,500 off a new Frontier. New Versa, $9,999. Save big on 400 new. You're going to love our prices.
I'm Gary Matthews, and that's my guarantee.
You're going to love our prices. Matthews Nissan.
The Leaf Chronicle is now available on every device you carry or don't carry. All things Clarksville in all media 24/7. Subscribe now for full access.
For 100 years, Neil Tarpley Parchment Funeral Home has honored legacies. We believe every family deserves a special time of celebrating a life well lived.
Neil Tarpley Parchment, people who care, a name you can trust.
Welcome to the show today. In the house with us, Scott Comperry. Scott is the owner of All in One of Clarksville Home Remodeling. Great to have you in the house, Scott.
It's good to be here.
You know, we have got to know each other really pretty well over the last year.
Pretty much.
What I like about you, I'll tell everybody, I know where you stand. If somebody asks you a question, don't ask you if you don't want your opinion. Is that correct?
That's probably correct.
You know, you're big on Facebook also. I don't know how many of you folks have Facebook, and you don't mind expressing yourself.
More of an aggravation to people, just in fun, more or less. But
you really do have a dry sense of humor. You like to stir the pot a little, don't you?
I stir the pot quite regularly.
Let's talk about your background. Born and raised in Montgomery County?
Yes, sir. Got ancestors in the graveyard.
Who are your parents?
Wendell and Jill Comperry.
Your parents. And what did they do for a living?
My father was a builder. My mother was a nurse, registered nurse at Gateway.
Uh-huh.
Well, actually, Memorial Hospital. She was there before it changed.
Right. You have any siblings?
Derek Comperry. He's in construction as well as me.
As well as you. So where'd you go to school?
Clarksville High School.
Graduated from Clarksville?
Graduation class of 89.
Oh, you a young pup.
I don't feel it, but...
Tell us about your wife.
My wife's a phlebotomist at Gateway, well, it's not Gateway, like Trinova Hospital now, and been in the ER for over 15 years.
How long y'all been married?
20 years.
She's a nice lady.
She puts up with a lot.
Yeah, well, she's a nice lady. She really is. She's a nice lady. How's the remodeling business?
It's a up and down sort of business. I do more of a personal touch with my business, do a lot of the work myself. I have other aspects that aren't my forte, you know, so I've got professionals lined up to do other aspects like the granite countertops and stuff, and we do foundation repair, we do brick and block, stonework, roofing is a main line. I do custom built decks and things of that nature.
How long you been doing that?
I started All in One in 09 because of the fall of new construction. before that, I had a trim crew for approximately 5 to 10 years, and we did. We also did. I had a framing crew at one time too, as well. So I pretty well know every aspect of construction.
I guess you started with your father, didn't you?
Yes, I did. He gave me my start. I think my first project I got to work on was Channing Place, condominiums in Magnolia Square over on Memorial Drive.
Memorial Drive. Mm-hmm. Are your parents still living, or are they deceased?
My dad's been gone about 20 years. My mother's still around.
She's still around. So you're fortunate and blessed in that respect.
I'm very fortunate. She's a good mother.
No children?
I've got, of course, 2 boys. You know my boys.
Oh, I know.
I've got Matthew. And,
they're not children.
Yeah.
These boys, they're not really boys. They're big kids.
I got Matthew and Riley. Matthew's 8, and Riley just turned 13 years old. Good boys. Riley's a computer guy, and Matthew, he's an outdoorsman. So I get the great world of both of them, I guess.
What is your hobby? Talking about outdoorsman for Riley. What is your hobby?
My hobby's stirring the pot. No,
yeah.
No. My hobby, basically, I love to fish and hunt.
Do you?
Everything. I like to deer hunt. I like to crappie fish. You know, not much for bass fishing, but I will.
Politics. What interests you so much in politics? You're very politically oriented.
I'm very conservative.
You are a conservative.
Yeah, I feel our government needs to spend their tax dollars more wisely, in a conservative manner, as opposed to wastefulness.
Are you disappointed in government?
I'm disappointed right now in the Republican Party.
And that's what you're a part of.
They're almost making me feel like I have nowhere to go. I'm a conservative Republican. I voted for a straight Republican ticket since I've been 18 years old.
Have you?
And now with the things going on with with the presidential race, it seems kind of strange. It seems like our vote doesn't count.
So what you're saying is you're a Trump supporter.
I like Mr. Trump because he's a businessman. He may not be well-rounded in other ways, and such. He's abrupt, and he says what he thinks, though. That's the part that I like. I said maybe me and him are a little bit alike. But he's a little overly abrupt, but I have to say that as a businessman, I think that's what we need in our country, somebody with business experience to run the country.
So you think he'd make us a good president?
I think he'd make us a good president with a little help.
With a little help?
Yeah.
Who would be his vice presidential if you had to predict today? This is April the 13th that we're taping this show, obviously 2016, but if it airs later, to let everybody know, obviously they haven't even had the Republican convention. Trump has the most delegates, but what he's talking about, the Republican Party would love to see someone else with that nomination instead of Trump. But what could Trump do to bring the party together? Who is the VP candidate that if he connected with would sort of solidify the party?
I personally think you need somebody like Marsha Blackburn.
Marsha Blackburn, really?
Yes. I think Marsha Blackburn would be an excellent VP choice. I think it would help gain the women votes. I just do. I think Carson as an advisor.
No disrespect to Marsha Blackburn. I just didn't expect to hear that.
No, I know. I didn't think you would.
No, I didn't. That's a shocker to me, and I'm not shocked.
She has been vetted
easily
about it. From the gossip of her, it's just gossip though.
Right.
But I think she would make an excellent VP choice.
What about Ben Carson?
I think Ben Carson would be a good advisor in some areas.
Do you think if Ben Carson was vice president, let's say for 4 or 8 years, that then he would be perfect to run for president?
I think he'd be good as an advisor.
Advisor.
In
what capacity? What are you saying? A cabinet member or just an advisor?
Just an advisor. I think he needs to get a little tougher.
He is a nice man.
Very kind man. Very.
I like him.
You know, I would have had no problem if he was the person that we chose by the vote. You know, I just want whoever gets it by our votes is who I want. And if it's not, you know, even if it's not Trump, you know.
Do you think the GOP could get to Cleveland for the convention and try to take this thing away from Trump?
Oh, sure, they hate him. They hate him because he's not bought by them. He can't be bought. He's got all the money he needs. You know?
Right.
So if he can't be bought, then it's scary for them because they can't influence him.
Does the GOP party locally go along with that thinking, or are they more like you're thinking, in your opinion?
They're not vocal till after the convention. They're really not vocal on who they support. Our
guest today is Scott Comperry, as you can tell. He's well versed. He certainly is politically oriented. He's the owner of All in One of Clarksville Home Remodeling Company. We'll put the phone number. If you ever need someone, you can get in touch with Scott, and he'll be glad to come take a look at your project and tell you what he can do. We'll be back, segment 2, with our guest right after these words. Hopefully tune in to Heartland Radio, the only locally owned, locally operated radio stations in the area. 105.1 on the FM, WVRY, and the oldest station around, 1400 AM, WJZM. Tennessee Vol Sports, Austin Peay Sports, the Atlanta Braves, news, talk, weather, and great music. Solid Gospel, 105.1 and 1400 AM, WJZM. Tune in.
The Leaf Chronicle is now available on every device you carry or don't carry. All things Clarksville in all media 24/7. Subscribe now for full access.
Welcome back. Our guest today is Scott Comperry. Scott is the owner of All in One of Clarksville. It's a home remodeling company. He's also very active in politics around this area. He is a down-to-earth, straight-shooting type of guy. And I call him a friend. I like him. Scott, do you have a best childhood memory?
Best childhood memory would probably be me out of my grandmother's farm. We had cows and horses and stuff out there, and when I first got married, I even got to live next door to her and eat breakfast with her every morning. Very close with
somebody who needs to get in touch with you.
I guess so. I might turn off the phone.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, I'm definitely going to avoid that phone call.
And we're going to keep this in, by the way.
Oh, that's fine. I don't care.
I know you don't. Your grandparents, was your granddaddy a blacksmith?
Yeah, he was. He's actually, he had something to do with the first anesthesia given to an animal in Clarksville.
Really?
Yeah, there was an old doctor that was practicing where the Clarksville Academy is now. There used to be our hospital here,
right.
Before Memorial.
That's where I was born.
And, well, anyways, this doctor had a mule that pulled a carriage, and that's how the doctor got around.
Uh-huh.
And so he would take his carriage out there and get the mule shod ever so often, And
right.
Well, my great-grandfather got
your great-grandfather.
Great-grandfather.
Not your grandfather.
Was at the old XL grocery store at XL Road.
Yeah.
Not where it is today, but
right.
had a blacksmith shop there, and anyways, he got to putting shoes on the mule, and the mule kicked him in the head and knocked him out. Well, when he came to, he walks over to his bench, and he grabbed a mallet and walked over, and he knocked the mule out, hit him right between the eyes. Mule fell over on its side, and the doctor screamed, "You killed my mule." He started putting shoes on the mule, and he said, "Well, if I killed him, you won't owe me for the shoe job." So anyways, however long the shoes last or whatever, the doctor come back to him and administered.
No, did the mule wake up?
The mule woke up. The mule lived.
And he was reshot.
He was back already for the next shoe job, 6-8 weeks later.
Yeah.
And when he went in there, the doctor had some anesthesia that he gave the mule to knock the mule out himself to make sure he didn't get hit in the head.
He didn't want you granted.
To my knowledge, that was probably the first anesthesia given to an animal in Montgomery County.
Yeah, it must be.
It was a whole lot better than the mallet to the head.
I guarantee you it was. You loved your grandparents, though.
Oh, I love my grandmother. My grandfather died the year before I was born.
He did.
Yeah.
If you had a chance for a do-over in life, what would you do differently?
I would probably concentrate on college a little bit more than what I did. I went to Vol State shortly.
Yeah.
I would have probably finished up Vol State instead of drinking beer and having fun.
And having fun. You love politics. You're a Trump supporter. If you were president, what is the first thing you would do?
If I was president,
yeah.
Oh, there's a world of things I would want to do. Probably take away my right for a line item veto.
You'd take that away from you?
For myself.
Really?
I think it's too much power.
Do you?
I really do. I mean, you can sit there and cut bills, stay up there forever and a day, and you can sit here, you can cut what you want out of it and veto it. I think it's too much power for one man to have. I guarantee you Muslims would fear me a little bit worse, especially ISIS. I don't think we've had a president that's done that well with that situation. When Putin's more respected than your own president in your own country, and he's a Russian communist, that's kind of bad.
It's sad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's really sad.
What do you think about illegals in this country? How would you handle that problem?
Well, they need to go back home. They need to come back legally, or they don't need to come at all.
Do you like to read?
I read a lot on Facebook. I'm not sure what's true or not. But
You have some good debates on there, don't you?
I stir the pot pretty good sometimes. I know just how to word it to get people riled up in the right way and stuff. And it's funny sometimes. It can be kind of funny from time to time.
Somebody called you a racist on there not long ago. That offended you.
I've been called a racist ever since Obama's been a president. Now, why is that? Why would you think that is? If I'll take one thing that Obama, something he's done that I do not like, it's policy orientated.
Right.
And automatically, if I've got a red-blooded liberal that does not agrees with Obama's policy, if he can't win the argument, naturally he calls me a racist.
That's the way out.
That's exactly. It's a cop out to getting out of an argument that you're talking about something that you absolutely know nothing about.
Right. Do you have anyone that you go to for advice?
Well, if I had somebody just as a, I go to my mother for some advice.
Yeah.
And then my friend Ted Level, I tend to go to him with personal advice a lot of times.
Ted's a good man.
He's a real good guy. He's been a good friend for years.
Yeah. Y'all are sort of best buddies, I know.
Yeah,
that.
we're good friends.
Yeah, you are.
Good friends.
Have you ever had a hero?
A hero. My dad was my hero. I looked up to my dad quite a bit. I took after him in construction and stuff, and I enjoyed it. He enjoyed building. I enjoyed building things and stuff like that. I guess it would be my dad.
Your dad.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great one to have.
Yeah.
Favorite foods? We both love to eat. We talk about it. We eat together a lot. Same plate. What are some of your favorite foods?
Oh, favorite foods. I like the breakfast food I get at the Busy Bee.
Crossland Avenue.
Which reminds me, when me, you, and Robert are together, what's that called? Is that called a herd?
It's probably called a lot of
Called
things.
a herd. You know, a bunch of monkeys are called a congress, and a bunch of hippos are called a herd.
That's right. Well, they definitely named the monkeys right.
That's right. That's right. They named the monkeys right for sure.
What's the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
I think the strangest thing I ever put in my mouth was chitlins, and I think I spit it out as
Were
quickly
they
as
fried or boiled?
they were boiled.
Oh, no.
And I never had something gag me so quick in my life. And then the second one would be I tried that squid.
Yeah.
I'm never doing that again. So I can say I tried it. I did not like it.
Is there something that you're most proud of?
My two boys.
Your two boys.
Love my boys.
Well, that's great. You do, don't you? I mean,
Yeah.
you hold them in high respect.
Yep.
They like to eat like Daddy.
Riley does. Matthew's a little finicky, whatever. I got to have donuts with him at his school yesterday.
You did.
They had this little donuts with Dad thing. And Matthew tends to have my same sense of humor. He gets the jokes I say, and
A little dry.
he'll tell a few jokes himself and stuff. He's hilarious.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Scott Comperry is our guest, owner of All-in-One of Clarksville Home Remodeling. We'll flash that number up. If you need any home remodeling, give Scott an opportunity to come check your place out. We'll be back, Stretch Run, right after this.
Thank you. It's the big savings event at Matthews Nissan in Clarksville or MatthewsNissan.com. $7,500 off a new Altima. $7,500 unbelievable. $6,500 off a new Rogue. $2,500 off a new Frontier. New Versa $9,999. Save big on 400 new. You're going to love our prices.
I'm Gary Matthews, and that's my guarantee.
You're gonna love our prices. Matthews Nissan.
For 100 years, Neil Tarpley Parchment Funeral Home has celebrated legacies with services as unique as each life.
Neil Tarpley Parchment. People who care, a name you can trust.
Stretch Run, our guest, Scott Comperry. Been a lot of fun. I always have fun. Anyone that makes me laugh, and you do, I gravitate to. I like people that make me laugh.
I do too.
You know, I got to ask you, asked everyone, best advice you've ever received?
Best advice I ever received was from my aunt, my Aunt Ann from Maryland. She told me when I first got married, and if me and my wife ever get in an argument, don't tell her mom, don't tell her dads, stuff. And I thought that was good advice.
That is good advice.
We never followed it, but it was good advice.
That's really good. Is there a person in history, dead or alive, that you would have liked to have met?
I would have loved to have met Ronald Reagan. I think that would have been a highlight of my life. I remember watching the presidential debates against Carter. I remember me and my dad, and he's quick-witted against Carter in the debates and stuff. And
Yeah.
it was pretty evident who was going to be our next president, and I even knew it then. That's when I was 10 years old.
I think the debates tell you so much.
They do. And, you know, the time era of Reagan and stuff, that's when our presidential people were, they had manners. Class, yes.
Real class. Because both of those men, Carter and Reagan, class act.
They had class. Mondale and Reagan had class.
You know.
They respected each other. What
is the truest sign of success?
Mine is if my billfold's real heavy, I think.
Well, at least you're honest.
Yeah.
What characteristic do you admire most in a person?
Honesty. I like to be, you know, there's sometimes when I go out and I do a job with certain people, sometimes my contract's on a handshake.
Well,
and I still think a handshake should mean as much as it did 50 years ago.
You know, I've been in radio and TV for over 35 years, 36, 7. And except for co-op advertising, whatever, I've dealt on a handshake for that long.
Yeah.
You're talking about the same thing. That's good enough for me, too. You look me in the eye. If our word's not good, it's no good. I've been burnt once in that time. That's pretty good, isn't it?
I've been burnt one time in all my business.
You know.
That's it.
That's
pretty good.
Favorites. We'll go down this pretty quick. Do you have a favorite movie?
Favorite movie? I tend to like Sling Blade.
What a great movie. What a great
I love
movie.
Sling Blade.
Billy Bob was fabulous.
Yeah, absolute good movie and stuff. And I like it, Clint Eastwood, Gran Torino.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, watched it last night.
Did you?
Yeah.
TV show.
Favorite TV show. I'd have to put that as, I like the Pawn Stars thing. I like everything that's on the educational networks pretty much. Duck Dynasty has become one of our TV shows. It's the Waltons of the year 2016.
For you.
Well, it's just the Waltons. You know, the Waltons were clean, you know, and that's what I grew up with. And for today, they're about as clean as you get, even with some of the stupidity, though. But, you know.
Scott's been fun. Yeah. I appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah.
Give him a call if you need anything. I want to thank Steve Sawyer. Thank you for watching. Tell your friends, neighbors, and loved ones about it. For our guests, for yours truly, Greg Walker. Till next time, have a nice rest of the day, folks.